What's going on, guys? This is Eric with Proactive Intuition, and in this video I'm going to show you the 5 main sources that you can get your inventory from when you're an eBay reseller. And at the end, I'm going to show you my favorite way on how I make a full-time income as a reseller. Okay guys, so if you are already an eBay reseller, maybe you're already a little more established, or you're just kind of getting into the game of reselling, I'm going to show you guys the top 5 most common ways that resellers get their inventory and kind of give you a little bit of insight on what I do and what might work best for you depending on the type of inventory that you're wanting to resell. So starting out with number 1, most YouTube channels you watch will show you everyone loves the thrift stores. You know, I used to go to thrift stores all the time. You know, I would go to thrift stores. They're great for finding things like clothes, vintage electronics, collectible items. I used to buy all sorts of different things at thrift stores, kind of depending on your area, depends on what prices will be and how cheap you can get some stuff and how low the prices are and things like that. It just kind of varies on the area that you're in. But for me, thrift stores is more of a beginner. I kind of wrote this down in sections, so I have beginner, intermediate, and advanced. But if you're just starting out and you want low risk, thrift stores typically are pretty good. You will want to be versed in how to appraise items correctly and understand sell-through rate. So that's something you want to be educated on if you go to any of these places, but thrift stores is a good, easy way to get started. I also kind of lumped number 2 is garage sales and estate sales. That you get a different variety of items typically at those places, but I personally like garage sales and estate sales better than thrift stores, but thrift stores are good because you can go to them year round. So these things are very good for clothing, shoes, some electronics, definitely collectible items. These are very good places to go to for that. So I'd say those are more of like your beginner introductory steps if you are a reseller. Number 3, I have auctions and storage units. This is more of like the intermediate kind of place to go to. So places like liquidation auctions are great. I used to go to a place where I'd buy, basically they would have pallets of inventory and people would go there and you have a sheet and you did like a silent bid on it. And you know, if you happen to be the biggest bidder at the end of the night, you'd get a call and you could go pick it up the next day. So auctions are great. Storage units are kind of a hit or miss scenario. I personally am not a big fan of storage units. However, I do know quite a few people who have made some good money doing storage units. I've made decent money with storage units. One of my biggest pickups was actually a vintage Kiss pinball machine. This guy was like a huge Kiss, like the band Kiss. He was like a huge fan of them. So he had like all these posters, like signed posters, vintage Kiss pinball machine, all this like Kiss memorabilia. So it's kind of cool, like the stuff you run across, but it's kind of gross. Like you have to clean out the units. It's just, it wasn't for me. But like I said, you can do well doing those things. I personally like the auctions better because you get to go in person, like find local auctions. You get to go in person, see the inventory, actually be able to like touch it and look through it before you bid on it. Storage units are more of like a mystery. You kind of don't know what you're getting because you can't like rummage through the thing. You just kind of see what you see with your eyes and you place a bid on it. So that's number 3, auctions and storage units. You can do simple Google searches in your local area, just like Google local liquidation auctions, local auctions, and you can find quite a few different places. I like to try to find places, like I have a place near me that does like full pallets, and they have hundreds and hundreds of lots every single week. That's what you'd want to look for if you're looking for local auctions. Or you can look for like storage unit auctions, just Google that in your area. Should be able to find those too as well. Number 4, this is where you get a little bit more advanced. Wholesale. That's like ordering things online. I am not a big fan of this, but if you know what you're doing, you can make money doing this. There's a lot of wholesale websites you can go to. You can get like liquidated Amazon inventory. You can get liquidated Walmart inventory, returns, like store returns. You can get all kinds of different stuff. There's also big websites like Bulk, BULQ, I think is how you spell it. But you can go to websites like that, get inventory shipped right to you. I personally am not a big fan of that because I like to be able to like see what I'm getting. So I would actually do local auctions before I would do wholesale, just because this is kind of uncharted territory for me. But like I said, there's lots of people that do that and they are very successful doing it. So just to kind of recap, you got thrift stores, garage sales, and estate sales. These are good, low risk, low capital. You don't need a lot of money to do these to get started. So that's a good place to kind of get started with if you're just like looking to get into eBay a little bit, but definitely do your research on like what types of products sell best. Be sure to subscribe to this channel if you don't know what types of products to sell, because I have good videos that show you like the types of products that I sell and how I make my money as a reseller. My favorite way is number 5 though. This is a strategy that not many resellers use, but this is what I've done over the last year to, basically it's been my full-time job. So this has made it so I've done, I average about $10,000 to $15,000 a month on eBay, and it's primarily coming from this. So this is basically you place organic or paid ads, and basically what you do is you go to places like Facebook groups, Craigslist, you can like search on those websites, Let Go, OfferUp. You can look on those type of websites and see what people have for sale. Well, what I do a little bit of a different spin on that. I like to place ads on those platforms every single day that say, I buy phones and electronics. That's what I primarily flip, but you can do it with anything. You can make a post saying, I buy collectibles, I buy clothes, I buy shoes, or high-end clothes and shoes. So you can kind of tweak it and make it your own, but what works best for me is I flip a lot of phones and electronics because they're very high margin, very high dollar, high value items, so you can make good profits on them. I just make simple posts with like a picture, and I basically just say I buy phones and electronics, and I post it on all these platforms. So I post on Marketplace, Facebook groups, Let Go, OfferUp, Craigslist, and I make posts every single day basically stating, I buy these items, and people message me with what they have for sale, and then I just make offers to them based off what they said they have for sale, the condition, what particular item they have, and basically meet up with them locally, buy the item, and I flip and resell it on eBay. So it's a little bit easier than having to go out and source at like a thrift store, garage sale, local auction. Wholesale you can generally do. You can order from your house or do on the phone. There's a lot of really good resellers that do the wholesale thing. It's just, it's a lot more risk and it takes a little bit more experience. So I never got that great at like the wholesale where it's being shipped to you, but I know there's good money in it. But this has worked the best for me. If you guys are actually interested in learning some of these strategies, I have a free Facebook group you can join. Feel free to join that below. But I teach you the whole strategy behind the organic or paid marketing that will get you a bunch of free leads that you can turn into deals and flip and resell. So that's all I got for you guys. But if you're looking to get started, maybe start out with the thrift stores and garage sales, kind of see what you can resell. And even before that, just go and find stuff around your house if you've never sold anything on eBay, and just get used to like the process of, how do I list an item? How do I figure out what an item's worth? I have a great video that you guys can check out on how to appraise different types of items. I'll have that linked below in the description as well. So if you want to check that out, that'll teach you guys like how can you decide, if I buy this item, how much am I going to make on it? And it teaches you kind of all the basics on basically how do I value what this item's worth, because you have to take into account a lot of things, eBay fees, shipping costs, how fast is this item going to sell. There's a lot of things you need to know before you buy an item to flip it and resell for profit. So I hope you guys got value out of this. Be sure to subscribe to the channel if you appreciate this type of content, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.